Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Free Agents podcast. Back again for some more pre-agents as we hit the final season here in Era 1 of the challenge. It's time to go to the Inferno again. The Inferno 2. We have Dave Mira back as our host. We have 20 challengers this time around, down a little bit from the 36 of Battle of the Sexes 2. And of course, we're ready to get into it all. First, of course, I am Matt here, as always, with Brian Scally. Scally, what's up?
Hello. I'm so good. I'm excited to be diving into the Inferno 2. This is one I have been waiting for. So my excitement level, all-time high right now.
I am so excited to get into this season, of course, and it's the first episode, part 1 of a pre-agents rewatch series here. So, of course, we are joined again by the great Mel. Mel, how are you?
I am great. I am ready to feel the flames of the Inferno too.
Do you think the flames are hotter this time around?
Oh, absolutely. They're in a cage, Matt.
That is quite scary. The caged aspect, but hey, production, design, all that stuff.
Hey,
chef's kiss.
I will say this might be my favorite elimination arena of all time.
Yeah, it's very iconic.
So far
looking.
is a low bar because we haven't had that many so far, but you did say all time, so I will keep an eye on that going forward.
Yeah, keep track because I feel like this one is so good. It's so well designed for anyone who's not watching along, maybe didn't catch it last time or doesn't remember. It is this giant like fighting pit. Everyone is watching from the second story, and every wall is just a metal grated cage around the fighting pit that they are in. And even when they're saying goodbye, they have to say goodbye through the cage. They can't actually give a good hug. So yeah, this is my number one. Definitely so far, potentially ever.
Yeah, pretty good theming here. And let's get right on into it. Mel, we have a very different theme here for the first time, where I guess for the first time going out of the norm of what we have been doing so far. We've done real world versus road rules plenty of times. We've done Battle of the Sexes twice now. This time we're trying something new: good guys versus badasses.
Iconic. This opening credits too, if anyone does not recall or hasn't seen, it starts with they're like pulling up for like an event, and like the good guys are the blue team. They're coming out of the limo. They're dressed to the nines, like glam. It's like the Oscars. They're coming in pairs. But then the badasses in red come up. They're dressed in their Ed Hardy, all black, and they're like coming for you. Like, we're going to kick your ass. This is such good theming. And it's wonderful to see the show evolve because you can see what the challenge does, which is like, we've done this for a while. We're going to learn. We're going to try something else and do something a little different now.
Yeah, Skelly, thoughts on the theme? Let's like get into the cast and their places on these teams in a minute, but just like generally on good guys and badasses.
I love it. I think it's a fun way to frame things. I feel like the challenge, having a little bit of fun with things, is great. They were desperately searching for a way to not just have it be real world versus road rules, and Battle of the Sexes was not really working all that well. So I'm glad that they found a different theme. I think good guys versus badasses might not be the most natural of fits, but they make it work well enough. I think we can talk about maybe, does everyone deserve their placement?
Yeah, definitely feel like there are some people that do not. So let's get to that in a second. I do feel like I heard at one point during one of the episodes, someone refer to the badasses as the bad guys, like good guys versus the bad guys. So I feel like they were having a hard time probably differentiating that in the moment. So just like, you know, the name of what is happening here is probably not too far off from where we are today of like Vets versus New Threats. Although maybe Vets versus New Threats is better. But I guess, you know. No? Okay.
Obviously, I grew up with this.
No, this certainly has like the iconic nature, nostalgia, all that of it. So I wouldn't give it to Vets versus New Threats, but I don't know. The challenge has always had I don't know, some interesting ways to go about the branding of it all. Just real quick before we get into the cast itself here, anybody have any episode 0 thoughts? They're always kind of throwaway. I did feel like this one offered us a little bit more, considering it had almost nothing to do with this upcoming season. It was more of a look back on previous seasons, but we did get Scally some clips of things from past seasons that I feel like we haven't either seen or talked about.
Yeah, I would say that it was more of like I mean, I guess not an oral history because there were visuals involved, but a little bit of a history of the challenge. Like, here is the origins of when we thought it would be a good idea, and then here are the different seasons we've done. They even showed the canceled human catapult challenge, and we're like, yeah, so the test subjects legitimately like broke their necks. So then we were like, I guess we shouldn't do it, but it seemed like it came maybe a little bit too close. It was really funny for them to be like, we have the utmost measure of safety and we take it really seriously and we test all the challenges. And I'm like, think about how many controversies there are over people getting hurt or like wonky results of challenges, and then comparing it to this. I would say I think it was a pretty fun watch if you're looking to just watch like one episode of like an old challenge. Like, this is a decent one to pick. Now, I would say one of the interesting things I thought was that we found out Theo and Sarah Grayson were maybe hooking up on the challenge, despite wasn't Sarah calling her boyfriend back home?
Was she? Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Ooh, la,
Classic
la.
challenge.
No wonder it was hidden from the cameras. That I don't know. But they did have enough footage to like show us that like this was the thing, and just talking about it. I don't know. Yeah, interesting to go back and see some of that stuff. We also got a little bit more of some insight on the Puck and David fight from Battle of the Sexes 1, Mel, including did any of us talk about this at the time or remember this piece of lore that Puck did actually get spit on by David after this whole ordeal happened? If you remember, for those of you listening along, that the whole thing that Puck had spit on David. David wanted Puck to be eliminated from the game because, he was considering it some sort of like violence or personal space invasion, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually they made this deal. David could spit back on Puck and everything would be fine. David chose not to spit on Puck and give him the satisfaction. But apparently he did after all during a promo shoot.
Yeah,
Well,
wild revelation of that. In a way, doesn't surprise me, but I'm surprised they didn't air it. All things considered, I think it would have been interesting because this whole special was interesting because it was largely coming from the point of view of production as opposed to cast members. Would have loved to have that sort of insight.
Crazy. Yeah.
There's also the reveal that the threesome in the shower was not the most people involved in one singular not sex act, but maybe sexual excursion, where that toga party VIP room that didn't get a lot of air on Battle of the Seasons was apparently maybe like a dark room where some stuff was going down.
Oh yeah. Same season that like Baloo's there with her child, right?
She sat out of the party.
Yes.
Yes, Baloo did not attend.
Trying to say Baloo was there with her child. She was just
And no
happy
Chadwick and
to-
Holly. They were praying, of
true.
course.
Maybe it makes a little more
yes.
sense why they took such a moral stance against this
Yeah.
party. Not to say that there's anything wrong. I just maybe, given the context.
Yeah. So definitely an interesting watch. I will say also that I believe I heard on the street that this episode 0 and I think even the reunion of this season are not available on Paramount Plus, because we are now at the point where if you want to follow along and watch some of these episodes, they are on Paramount Plus as an easier way to watch them. But I guess those 2 episodes are not. So annoying, but we're telling you about them anyway. So
yeah. Apparently, also to gain entry into the VIP, you had to show Coral a private part. So that was, and then once in there, I think Ms. framed it as people were getting really good massages in lots of areas.
this probably isn't too far off from what the challenge is today.
Honestly, no, the challenge is so tame today.
It's just such a sport now, as opposed to that it was summer camp and it was a good time. And now it's like, it's a full-time job. It's a big prize. It's a challenge that will probably break your neck. I mean, it was always that apparently. It'll change.
Scally, you say that, but apparently there's a good chance that a baby was made in the season 41 house.
Yeah, but like that's between 2 people who are in a committed relationship at this point.
Yeah, not a closet in a hurricane laden hotel room.
That is fair.
But we haven't seen the season yet, so we actually don't know.
Yes. Unless anybody has anything else on episode 0 here, let's get into the Inferno 2 and talk about these teams specifically. Again, if there's anybody on either team that stands out as maybe not belonging on the team that they were labeled, 20 cast members again, so 10 members on each team. Should we all say it at once? Because I have to imagine there's one name that stands out, right? Three,
Okay.
2, 1.
Julie.
Julie
Julie.
on the good guys team. Episode 0 highlighted the Julie and Veronica situation and how scared Veronica was and how production and everybody out there was terrified. And then we open up the Inferno 2 to Julie on the good guys team. It's crazy.
Here's the
She's
thing.
found God again.
She got married. She has gone through a spiritual journey off of the show. And I would say that if anyone on this cast thinks they're a good guy, it's Julie over every single other person.
Mhm.
So you could frame it in that manner. She even does get a line very early on that's like, as long as I can keep my temper under control, I will be a good guy this season. So she is rationalizing it to us. I also think that, like, I also have a hard time taking any of the 5 badass women off of the badass team. So maybe it was just we have too many.
I guess that's a fun activity, though. If you were going to take one of them and move them to the good guys team and put Julie where she rightfully belongs on the badasses, I mean, at this point, has Tina shown, like, I mean, the term badass makes sense for Tina, but like, you could still advertise her as Julie does not belong in the good guys team. I don't care.
Go ahead.
Can I throw out? I would say at this point, before we have watched any of Inferno 2, I would say Tanya is still a
Me
good
too.
guy. I don't
Fair.
think Tanya has unleashed herself until they place her on the badasses. Now Tanya is the Tanya we know. But before this, it's just like Tanya was injured, and then last season, like, hooked up with Theo and was like, yeah, a little feisty, but overall, like, I wouldn't call her a badass based on her last performance.
Tanya
Yeah.
being on the badass team is slut shaming, and I will stand on that hill.
I mean, is Veronica not also the same case, or do you think there's a little bit
I think
difference?
Veronica plays the game in a more calculated way than Tanya does, that you can argue that is why she is there. Not just because people talk about her hookups on the show openly in such a way, but I feel like, Tanya likes to party, Tanya hooks up, but that does not make a badass or, on the bad guy team in my books.
Okay. Yeah. And then for me, the only other name that that I'm personally questioning is The Miz. I'm not questioning why they put him there, as far as, like, I get the narrative that's been created for The Miz over the past couple seasons, but we have talked about plenty of times that Miz has not been a good guy on the challenge. So yeah.
We'll get there.
So that's where he is. Mel, did you have any other specific picks of anybody that didn't belong on their team, or?
No, it is just Julie. I totally understand why they placed her there. However, we all know where she should be.
Yeah. And then these newbies here. It's crazy how we have another season of the challenge. Only 5 brand new cast members here. And those are Shavonda, Karamo, Jamie, Landon, and Jody. And I believe 3 of those people are all from the Real World Philadelphia, which must have been the most recent season. Of course, there is, Landon's going to become a staple of the challenge over this era, and Karamo Brown, big name here, and Jamie Chung, very big name here.
Yeah, for anyone who does not know, Karamo goes on to be one of the new school Queer Eye guys, which is still so funny. I wish that one of you didn't know that, so we could reveal that here to you. That would be such a fun reveal. But yeah, that's Karamo's history. This is the only time we will see him on the challenge, so there's that. And then Jamie, also the only time we will see her on the challenge. She goes on to be a pretty successful actress.
Yeah. The amount of Wikipedia pages that these people have are starting to increase as we get deeper into the show, which, speaks well for their careers. But Mel, anything else about any of the other newbies here? Again, Landon, Shavonda, who was the other one?
Jody.
Yes, Jody. Jody, first time for Jody, who's going to become, a presence on the show. Not like a ton long term, but she's here for a couple seasons, and then she certainly comes back in modern times.
Yeah, I was surprised that Jody debuted this late, but I guess it's only like a season or so ago. But for some reason, I thought she started much sooner in the challenge world than Inferno 2.
Interesting. Yeah, she only took one. She wasn't on Battle of the Sexes when her other cast members debuted, but she jumps in right here 1 season later. I think Jody has a little bit of a soft start in these 6 episodes. So even though she is known as a pretty good physical competitor on Road Rules, and I would say in her future challenge career, not a whole lot from Jody going on. And then for people who don't know Shavonda, she's fun, she's cool. She and Landon were kind of a thing. And let me go ahead and question Landon's involvement on the good guys team, because for anyone that did not watch The Real World Philadelphia, one time when Landon was drunk, he did maybe get annoyed and put a large kitchen knife in his back pocket, and he was going to pull it on someone. So
Yeah,
I'm hearing that for the first time.
I think I
Yeah.
forgot about that. As said right before the pod, this is the era where I am still watching the challenge. I'm dabbling in the real world, but I'm also dabbling in borderline underage drinking, probably right around the cusp of 21. So really, it's just a matter of semantics. If I was in Korea, I'd be able to. You can drink legally on the January 1st of your year. So I know I was watching Philly, but I was not as closely in on Philadelphia, except that I was obsessed with the fact that there was Willie was a cast member, if I recall, and he was on the show Ghostwriter when I was a child. And that was, to me, the biggest get in the entire world.
We'll definitely be talking more about the Philly people here, especially in like the final round of this batch of episodes today, because the relationship, or at least like two of the cast members, one specifically, come up in a big way as we eliminate one of them here. But just like, I don't know, quickly on some of the other people that are here that aren't first timers. Interesting that we get Derek and Brad back right away. We're not surprised, of course, not just because they become long-term like legends on the show, but Derek stood out a lot in his couple of episodes last season, and his whole thing, I want to get back at the Miz this time around. Brad is back for getting some revenge for his own self after he feels like he got betrayed last season. Interesting to see CT back for only the second time here, who's sporting, is this a different look from last time, or is it just like much more exaggerated?
It's much shorter. The
yeah,
hair.
it's like basically bald.
Yeah, taken a razor and maybe held it 1 millimeter off of his head.
But like the sunglasses and the chains were there the first time around.
Yep.
Okay. It just feels much more in my face this time around. Much
I would
more
say maybe they were like back and forth. He wasn't always wearing them, but yeah, no, this is a thing.
Okay. It feels like in line with his character that I remember for this era, but I feel like it was more this season than I'm remembering last season, but that could just be a bad memory from me. Anybody else specifically, either of you, interested in who we have here? John and Beth are back for the first time in a minute, and they will quickly be out again. So we'll get to them.
Honestly, there's almost no one on this cast that I don't find interesting here.
Yeah, okay. So
it's an interesting group that they have assembled together, and I'll just wait to discuss, of course, which is what we're all waiting for. What shirt does John Brennan wear?
Do you want to lead with that? Because
let's go with it. Gone is the Jesus beat the devil with an ugly stick, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
In this season is Jesus is real.
Yes.
John staying on brand.
Very strong connection right off the bat with John Brennan and Julie, who are really bonding over their faith. And so that shirt, I'm sure, a very big part of that storyline for you, especially Mel.
Very, especially because everyone else has like all these like very queer forward shirts made by Rachel and Veronica and whoever else. And there's like one that's like, I'm not homophobic or something. Just to also have that next to John's Jesus is real is just like, what a mix of characters they've amassed over time.
Yeah, literally obsessed with John and Julie making a joint statement to the audience where everyone else is getting really drunk and fighting, and John and Julie are like, hey audience, we just want you to know that this might seem to be about like partying and sleeping around, but there are still people who want to represent God and know what Jesus did for all of us. And I'm like, this is so funny. Like, imagine this on a modern day challenge.
Yes. Especially again, for like Julie to be narrating, like, we can be still like good and calm and, reasonable people out here again, after the season she just had.
Thank God she maybe found the Lord, since she almost did commit murder on television.
Yes. She would have asked for forgiveness.
Manslaughter.
She said if she wanted to murder Veronica, she would have stabbed her in the heart with a knife. And I was like, oh, well, you really have thought about this.
I can't. when we get introduced to this season again by Dave Mira, rest in peace. Last time hosting the show here, not because of his passing, that happens a little later on, but it is his last time hosting the show. Scally, as he introduces, the concept of the season here, the format, anything you want to set up as far as what we're doing this time around, differences from the last Inferno?
Well, for last time, they were able to nominate 2 of their own team members, and then the opposite team would pick one of them. Now it's just opposite team can pick anybody on your team. You are all up for grabs, and while the life shields are still available as well, it's really even more important to win them because you could be nominated at any point.
Yeah, and CT talks about this gets one of the confessionals to explain this to us, that everybody is terrified, everybody's nervous about how this is going to go. We see throughout this batch of episodes, Mel, that there's a lot of talk about what alliances may or may not exist, and people getting very defensive about the idea of the alliances that they do or do not have.
What's so funny about that is Mike the Miz is the one seasons ago who said, everybody has an alliance here. You're dumb if you think that there aren't. And everyone else is in one. And yet this time he is so vehemently I don't have an alliance with Abram. Blah, blah, blah. Mike.
Call back.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I mean, I wonder, what the internet streets were saying at the time. We know what conversations tend to be going into a season of the show. Just for a random example, going into season 41, Kara and Bananas both involved in a lot of controversy from things that were happening online. And so we're like, well, what's going on going into the season for these people? I just kind of wonder, was this the deal that Mike and Abram are going into the season with the big alliance? And so pretty early on, we're hearing that play out. And Tina talking about what alliance she does or doesn't have. And, obviously everybody has an alliance, but the way that they're all defending themselves so much against the idea is, I don't know, interesting. I don't know who you're trying to convince or why you need to convince anybody, but that's okay. First round of gameplay here. We want to get into it all, where we are going to, of course, as you said, Scally, have 2 different challenges. The first one, let's get into it, is surf torture.
Oh my God, surf torture. They have to do a bunch of exercises led by Navy SEALs, very reminiscent of the first Battle of the Sexes, that they had to do something very similar, boot camp-esque. And they're allowed to put themselves into teams of 2, any gender combo that they want. And this looks physically painful. I was actively shuddering watching this at multiple times.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. My arms were shaking imagining me
Same.
having to do that. Yeah,
they are now. I don't like it.
Yeah,
literally, you see the Miz and many other strong boys who are just having to do wheelbarrows over and over, and their arms and hands are contorting in ways because they're just so physically exhausted. And just, oh my God, I'm getting cramps in my hands thinking about it.
So I do have some logistical questions and it's tougher with the guys because there's a lot of very large men. But when it comes to the women and some of the particular choices made, why for a wheelbarrow, if you're going to have to carry them, would you put the heavier of the 2 people in the bottom? And that's a specific dig at Tanya and Beth, where they are immediately stuck together. They're not happy. Well, Tanya's not happy because she knows she's getting a bag of potatoes for a partner. And then they're out of sync with their communication, but also Tanya can't hold up Beth. Beth has no core structure. What are we doing here?
Yeah, they did have to go back and forth, right? Of switching off who was going to be holding the other person. So I guess at some point they would have had to switch anyway.
Get your best foot forward, at least to start with.
You would think
right
so.
off the bat, you put Beth right away. I mean,
yeah.
Anybody who had Beth, I think they just knew they were sacrificing, but
yes.
Right. Very interesting with the people that are there to not host, but I guess be the characters in this challenge that are yelling at them to get off my beach every time that somebody gets eliminated. So they have to go ring a bell and basically pronounce themselves as eliminated from the challenge. So some fun theming there if that's fun for you. It ends up coming down to Landon and Miz as the final pair for the good guys team versus Abram and Derek for the badasses team. Actually, no, really quick. Derek on the badasses team. Anybody also a little head scratchy about that?
Makes complete sense. Derek is not yet a good guy. Derek was actively just like drunk all of the time and getting
Fair.
into arguments. And later does he become like the underdog that we root for. But at this time, Derek very much was, I mean, they put him and Abram together because they're crazy people. Like these are the two craziest members. That's why you don't put CT there, who is also fairly crazy. But if CT is not like the third craziest member of your team, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is going to end up being Abram and Derek that get the win there for the badasses. Mike the Miz was specifically the one that gets eliminated as he's not able to keep his body off of the beach sand. And so it's a good start for the badasses. And as we get to the deliberations for this first round, again, we're going to just be picking one person from the other team to go right in. Mel, do you have any like specific thoughts or issues or anything with this style of just you pick who you want?
I mean, it's a little tricky because anyone's up for grabs. And in terms of like good competition, like, yeah, it's not that exciting when you are going to like keep all the like most terrible players around. And that's mostly because in the back of your head, you think I can't do an entire season with Beth. So it's a real different strategic take for like who you're going to send in or not. But I think it does make it interesting because this first nomination doesn't go particularly like as expected because it is one strong person and one who they deem weaker person. I actually don't think that they are a weaker person. I think they're just perceived that way in comparison to a pure group of male psychopaths.
You don't say. One of the gay men are immediately perceived to be the weaker ones on the team. Shocker. But yeah, Scally, they were also just like figuring out like how the other team was going to go about picking their players. And so there was a little bit of that confusion for this first round.
Yeah, I think that in the past it was kind of like we should target the strongest members, but I would say this is around the era where the strongest members start to get really, really strong on the challenge. I would say that there was less of a difference between the average competitor and the top of the line, and this is where it's like, oh, these people are coming back year after year and just absolutely dominating. So I think that it becomes a little questionable of, ooh, if I find myself in there, am I really comfortable competing against them? And so that's where you see the good guys taking a little bit of a maybe more cautious strategy.
Yeah, the good guys are going to end up selecting from the badasses Dan, thinking that, you know, whoever from their team gets picked can beat Dan, again, the perceived weaker player. And Dan is, I knew it. I knew they were going to pick me for an easy win. And then on the badass team, they're going to be selecting Mike from the good guys, because if they can get the Miz out nice and early, then, that's obviously a good thing for their team. And so that's set up to be what the first Inferno will be. Of course, we're going to have the challenge for the lifesaver to see if that changes, and it actually will. So we'll get there.
I did love Dan being like, well, joke's on them, because if this is singing Madonna songs, I'm totally going to win.
I mean, look,
Dan is such a good personality.
He's so funny.
Inferno challenge of singing Madonna songs. I was definitely worried that we were going to lose Dan this early in this season, because just in like this one episode, you're like, oh, I immediately remember why Dan is so much fun. So glad that did not happen, at least not right now. Miz, as he's been on the challenge for these past couple of years, has been, in like wrestling school, doing a lot of training and whatnot. But like you really see it on this season as he is like doing full on promo to the camera.
Well, where Dan is like, Miz, I think when we go in, we should wear war paint. And Miz is like, perfect. I brought war paint. Like, of course you did. Of course you brought war paint.
Yeah. So, keeping an eye on that. And also when we get to the nomination ceremony, as you will, like someone's child on production made like a little like playhouse of the challengers, of the arena, I guess, of the Inferno. And there's like a little figurine that they go and take with their name on it to put inside this, I'm assuming, child's creation to signify who's going in.
It's beautiful craftsmanship.
Yeah,
they're little like figurines with sombreros with their names on them. And it's
child.
Like such pomp. I thought initially they were going to go grab them and put them in themselves, like how we've done in the past with like the ceremony of the plates being hung. But it's Dave Mira gets to hold the blessing of these figurines. So nice to have him a part of the ceremonial pomp and circumstance.
So far these deliberations in this like ceremony, a little underwhelming, but plenty of other stuff to be looking at this season.
because they don't have to vote themselves in for the
Right.
most part. It's like, all right, well, it seems pretty random. We don't know who's going in unless the other team tells us, which, they probably shouldn't do in most cases, because then we could get a preferred matchup. And so it's like, all right, well, we all agree on this person. Like, yeah, all right. Even though there are like definitely the hints of starting to be alliances, seniority on the challenge, etc. We see that, Veronica and Rachel, etc., have worked with the Miz a lot, and yet they have no problem throwing him in now because he's on the other team. What are we gonna do?
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. As we get to the Lifesaver Challenge in episode 2, it is Juice It Up. And at first, it's like, oh, yeah, simple. Just grab one of these fruit, go squeeze it in the cup until it hits the line. But the difference, Mel, here is that they are on stilts the entire challenge.
This is a fantastic challenge. We will see a grapefruit decimated in a level that I didn't know possible. It's kind of like the movie Girls Trip, but just well in advance and on stilts.
I like this. Have you guys ever worn stilts?
I don't think so.
I'm not a carnival worker, Skelly. I have not run away to the circus just yet.
I have not worn stilts like these. They did have us use stilts in a science class one time, which was very fun. But
Science?
Yeah, it was about like weight distribution over smaller surface area. It was cool. But I thought that this did look very fun. Some people were really busting their asses quite a bit, including Jody, who knocks over the cup and has to start all over.
Yeah, very emotional start for Jody, both in this episode and seemingly throughout this entire beginning of the season. Seems like she is having a tough time, I don't know, like assimilating with the group or getting through these challenges. Not the perception of Jody that I have from her many seasons that she's done now. She's just always like this badass, for lack of a better term, and just like lots of different types of scenes here for her. But yeah, she doesn't do the best. What the big drama and story is in this, of course, is will Dan or Mike end up winning the life shield? And we're going to end up seeing that Dan does do very well, but is it fast enough? It is not fast enough, right? He doesn't win it.
No, Mike does. Mike and CT, who are in a final heat against each other.
Right, CT on the badasses.
Yeah, Mike takes one grapefruit and squeezes it with every ounce fiber of his being in a way that was truly haunting. I don't know how he did it. I think I'll practice myself to see how much juice I could get from a grapefruit. It's breathtaking. Like CT was like, what is happening? He could see out of the corner of his eye.
The juiciest grapefruit in the whole world. Somehow a gallon of juice was in this one singular grapefruit. It all came spilling out. Like it was like Mike's cup overflowed within 3 seconds. So I don't know how he did it, but congratulations to him, despite falling all over the place and definitely getting to his glass after CT. He does beat CT. And so the reveal that CT wins the lifesaver or shield kind of spoils the fact that Mike is going to win his as well.
You really know momentum there.
Yeah. But what are you going to do?
But they did win something else. Ding, ding. It's
they
prize
did win
time.
a prize here, Mel. Was this one that particularly exciting, though? It was just an MP3.
No, I just get really excited for prizes because also, as we know, over time, sadly, prizes will become few and far between. In fact, not enough prizes for me in these 6 episodes that we watched.
Agreed.
But over time, they will continue. They will be great. But then eventually they will stop. And you will miss that because when they just get money, whatever. But to get a Dell Pocket DJ MP3 player is priceless.
I actually believe they tell them exactly what the price is, but it's very silly.
Yeah, I would like to know where all of these MP3 players are today. Did a single one of them manage to keep it all these years later?
No.
I don't know about you guys, but I have some old electronics.
I do too. I have some that I keep in a box. Like I actually have my phone that is probably like the era of the challenge that they have, where I'm like, did they have this phone? But I did almost want to message cast members from last season to see if they got those shoes. The computer shoes. But then I didn't. But
be a new type of message for them to open in their inbox compared to what else they probably get.
I'll tell you, I feel like if we messaged Mark Long, he would answer.
That feels correct. Yeah.
Right?
And hey, if nothing else, if we really wanted to know someday, I'm sure a lot of them would answer that through a cameo.
Oh, for sure.
Last resort.
But I don't want to pay for like
Last
Just
resort.
check your, just do a favor.
Yeah.
I think if you put the subject line, the challenge, Mark is opening it just in case.
Yeah.
Yes. Just title the email. Coral said she'll be back tomorrow if you just open this email. It's like the scam email that you try to get your family not to fall for, but Mark is falling for it.
Oh
It's
no,
us.
not Mark being in that age range now.
I mean,
Oh no.
anyway, by the way, this life shield situation this time around, maybe a little different where you have to use it on yourself. There's no option anymore. So Mike won. He has to use it. He has to be safe.
I
So
don't like this. I will say one thing, which is I don't like that the life shield can be won by either gender, but like you can't do anything about it. Like if this was a women's
Agreed.
elimination, they can't do anything, correct? Like it just stays
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because in obviously in the previous Inferno, we did have a situation in which a woman took a man's spot, right?
Yes, you could do that.
So now that I do not believe is allowed, and so I'm kind of curious why it's not just like the top performing woman on like the Women's Day is
Yeah,
awarded a lightsaber,
exactly.
or like a man can use that basically as a veto on Big Brother and save one woman and put someone else up. So I don't understand why it becomes very inconsequential about half of the time.
Yeah.
Definitely a little strange on that end of things. But so with Mike having to save himself, Mel, John Brennan with the Jesus is Real shirt is going to make it very easy on Mike and the entire team to decide, who is going to have to go in Mike's place because he's going to go.
I was speechless when I saw this because I can't. John compares himself to Jesus Christ and that he's making a sacrifice for the team and all that. This is what Jesus would do. It is like so deep and whatever. And you're like, this is the challenge, the Inferno too.
Hilarious.
Like, it's so, oh my God. It was so funny to me. But I'm not mad because I don't need John around because I don't think he's that interesting. He's also only 31 at this point. I thought he was much older.
Yeah, I'm okay with this happening. It's really funny to see Julie absolutely hysterical, being like, they don't understand the symbolism. It's
Yeah.
like, you literally are saying he's Jesus. This is crazy. But you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, no, they definitely don't understand Julie, and they also don't care. They are very
John
happy
is
for
real.
anybody to be volunteering to go home, not to go home, to go in, but essentially to go home here when we see this elimination. So John Brennan with the strangest challenge career, just happens to be there for the first season of the show, so he will forever be a part of challenge history. But then the next two times that he's back, he's out in the first round of eliminations, and that's it. Of course, Beth is going to go on to have like a longer career, more substantial in the franchise. And funny that they're still, tied together to this day. They do a podcast together, like regularly today. So they're still intertwined, and Beth is going to be out pretty soon after John for a different reason. We'll get to Beth very soon, but yeah, that's John.
He was at one point on the all-time men's Mount Rushmore, and I think there are many more impactful
default.
people who will never make it there.
That is true. He at least got like a little bit of a carving and fell out due to just the obvious technicalities of only casting 5 people on the first season.
And for all of you out there, to refresh you on what happened for us in our all-time men's Mount Rushmore of season 2 of the challenge, we did take John off right away to replace him with Jason and Neil. And I challenge all of us together collectively, maybe not the 3 of us, to remember anything about Jason and Neil. So
it was during that season you were like, I don't know. So.
You know what though? I actually could name a lot of things. I feel like, John sticks out because he had that shirt on for me, but Jason had sex at the Playboy Mansion.
That's true.
Hang Tough is the name of the Inferno here, where we already talked about the arena here with everybody watching from behind the cage, but this is going to be upper body strength. You have to hang on to essentially these monkey bars and then get to the center of the monkey bars where, as Dave Mirror calls it, a good old-fashioned chicken fight. Just kick and pull and whatever you can do to get your opponent off first, or just hang there and hope that you can hang on longer than your opponent. John Brennan goes into the scally feeling like he is at a pretty big disadvantage because he has a little bit more weight on him than Dan does, and that proves to be correct because Dan beats him.
Yeah, I think John was kind of okay with whatever happened here. I don't think John was
I think he's ready
coming. Yeah, I think he was very okay with this.
That's definitely what the vibe was. Very sad when he goes and, Beth is upset and Julie's upset and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't feel like he showed up to this challenge with the same competitive drive that a lot of the other players had. So,
Plus, I think that the challenge that John did, which wasn't really a challenge at all, he went on road rolls. He was not ready for what this show has become, which again is a crazy summer camp-esque atmosphere of hard partying and hookups. And that's not his vibe. And that's fine to exit from the party. It's fine for all of us.
Dan thought he would have beat The Miz in this. Does anybody agree?
I am going to say good for you, Dan.
Like anything's possible.
We don't know that he wouldn't have.
Right.
True. Look, Miz obviously also probably has more weight on Dan, but I think Miz is not getting down there unless you chopped his fingers off.
I think it's a harder fight because I do think Dan had a good strategy. So what Dan did was he used his legs and wrapped him around John and just kind of yanked him down with his legs. But I do think the Miz has a lot of upper body strength from all of his training, and he's got huge muscles. But also that could be just for show. It's a little bit different. So I don't know. David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
I am scared that the Miz would have kicked a hole in Dan's chest.
There is a certain point where they are very fearful that the Miz will kill somebody in an elimination.
Yes. And I think it's a valid concern at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Anybody have any final thoughts on John Brennan here? Is there anything else to say? Just this is the end of his career here on the challenge. Will not be back for All Stars. Will not be back again whatsoever. But again, one of our 5 OGs from season 1. So
he serves a purpose in the larger scheme of everything. And that's at the time why I was it was hard when I was thinking about the Mount Rushmore, because I just think of John being a formative character of the franchise as a whole. But as a challenge contestant, this is not what John needed in life. It's not for him. He's not an athlete. He's not a partier. He has a different purpose.
Yeah. And he comes back on the Real World Homecoming. So we do see him again in some capacity. And I feel like that was a good spot for him to, reemerge. But, moving forward in the challenge, and I do think that he, took himself and his career in a different place that he was probably better off in, and the show didn't really miss him much, unfortunately. So.
Did he ever put out that album? I mean, if you're looking for him, there you go.
I'm sure. Hey, if you're looking for him again, he's got a podcast right now, which I'm saving an episode because very recently they did interview Coral, but
I know I saw that too. My friend sent it to me in the group chat and I was like, I gotta find time for this.
I'm just waiting to listen to it until after we're done with Coral's time on the show in case she talks about it.
So you can just savor it.
Yeah.
John Brennan does have songs on Spotify.
Yeah, I'm good.
He has 135 monthly listeners.
Okay. Well, congratulations to him.
Is he on the new Bieber album?
Yes.
Moving on. We and I say moving on pretty excitedly because the other half of John and Beth, is about to kick off quite the round of the challenge here for us. Scally, set us all up with the ongoings here.
Let's give a trigger warning for lots of misogyny is going to happen in the first half of this next episode because Tina takes it upon herself. She has reminded us that she does not love Tanya. And so she goes to Robin and says that you don't know where Tanya has been. Who knows what she's carrying? Lots of crazy misogynistic statements. And Beth chimes in to say that actually Tanya has claimed she is really good friends with Mark. Such good friends that they hang out and they watch movies. And I feel like Tina was doing even more of the filling in of the blanks here.
Perhaps did feel like, or at least the edit, certainly was presenting it to us as this is Beth spilling the tea. This gets wild, and I don't think we could maybe for the first time, because I know that you can now go watch this on Paramount Plus. I urge you to make sure you have seen all of this and then come back so that the show itself does itself justice. But it is a crazy sequence of events here, because Robin is going to be so pissed off when she hears this. She is going to take it upon herself to go confront Tanya. And they're all in, I think, the kitchen. Robin starts making some comments. Tanya's staying pretty calm at first and kind of denying all of these allegations. Although I think she says later to us in confessional that, yeah, something happened, but it was only one weekend. And, she doesn't want to be with Mark, but she's, it seems like this is turning into a bigger narrative of what happened than what actually it is.
What happens is, they keep it going. Robin calls Mark. Mark denies everything. And he's like, I've never even hung out with Who's Tanya? I've never heard of that girl. And so Robin believes Mark. Absolutely, obviously, why would he lie? Why would he
Believe
lie on me? Yeah. So in the confrontation, she starts out with that Tanya said Robin was Mark's rebound chick. All right. A less aggressive thing that has happened. And then Robin confirms they're still dating. Tanya does admit it was just for a weekend and it wasn't a big deal, that she at no point was dating him. And then is like, well, you know what? You should probably reevaluate relationship because he's fucking both of them, is what Tanya says.
Yeah, and we're going to, go all around with all the different words that Robin is going to call Tanya. You can, fill in the blanks yourself.
It's very 2005. It was
look,
a very casual word in 2005, and we have thankfully, as a society, evolved and moved along to know that we shouldn't call each other that.
Robin, hey, people still do.
Yeah,
Robin
to stay for a special circumstance.
I will be vague enough, but still paint the picture, where she does use a lot of terms about Tanya, including saying that she is a dirty word that starts with an HW or WH, and a liar. And Tanya says, "Hey, don't call me a liar." So
yeah, she'd rather be one than a liar.
Yes, she says, the many misogynistic terms that are thrown her way of someone who, let's say, maybe sleeps around or is paid for sleeping around, but she will not be called a liar.
The funnier part of all of this is that during this conversation, Robin does seem to eventually come to the realization that yes, Tanya and Mark slept together. But she's understanding that Tanya's saying it wasn't a date. It wasn't a relationship. It was straight up just that. But so Robin eventually is like, all right, fine. You did that, but you're still a this, you're still a that, you're whatever.
No, she says that God, and this, I hate this. This is where I was like, I do not like Robin right now. Where
Robin, says, by the way, actually, we're thinking about it. Robin is a bit of a badass. I think that I don't know where the depiction came, but Robin was not a great person on her Real World season. Robin used some offensive words on her season as well.
And we'll continue into the challenge, so we will get there. But she says here that Robin says if she was a guy and a WH other letters put her vagina in her face, that she would fuck her too, but guess what, he's not dating her. Oh my god, what?
Yep.
This is that's why you have to just watch this, because we're not gonna be able to recap it the proper way. We're not gonna act it out because it has aged of a time, but it is a wild thing caught on camera, and just what a time. Really a time capsule moment here.
Right. So this is only going to get crazier, because after the Robin aspect of this is, I guess, put a little to the side, Tanya is now pissed off because this was stirred up at all. And who stirred it up? Of course, we know Beth. Tanya is going to go find Beth, who is, as far as we can tell, fast asleep in her bed. And Beth has no interest upon being woken up in having this conversation. Tanya is basically pulling the sheets down past Beth's head to make sure that she is hearing her and aware that this is a serious thing they need to talk about right now. But she, again, has no interest in having the conversation. So Tanya is going to take it upon herself to take other measures to show Beth how serious she is about having this conversation right now, including taking Beth's suitcase, going over to the pool. It's a very nice house that they have here, a very big villa, and taking the whole suitcase, throwing it into the pool. But unfortunately, it's floating. Not everything is sinking. This isn't good. This isn't the plan. We want to destroy Beth and all of her belongings. And so eventually we're going to see her take the next steps of taking everything out of the suitcase and throwing all of the individual items everywhere into the pool, eventually over the balcony, everything she can to get Beth's attention, who for like 2 or 3 different times that Tanya comes in and out of the room to let Beth know what she is doing, or at least to try to hint, hey, you should come outside and see what I'm doing to try to get your attention. Beth is really insistent on having this sleep.
Yeah. God, first of all, Tanya's quote of like, don't call me a liar, I want it on a shirt. Second of all, like, this was so good. I know it's bad behavior. I don't care. When she puts
You're
the
watching
bag in the
reality
pool,
TV.
exactly. Like, I guess, oh, it aged poorly. Like, okay, well, we can acknowledge that. I think that Tanya throwing the bag, it floating, and then Veronica and Rachel being like, Tanya, it's floating. You got to make it sink. It's so funny. They're like, yeah, okay, we didn't do it, but we didn't help. For like, we didn't stop it either, or like whatever. So it was really funny. She was just strewing Beth's clothes all over the backyard, over the balcony, to the bottom of the pool, and then seeing the visual of when Beth finally does get up and is fishing her clothing out of the pool. It's so funny. People are taking selfies being like, this is the best challenge ever.
Yeah, Miz is losing his mind. Everybody is just like so incredibly like tickled by the fact that this is happening. Of course, Beth is not tickled by this. Eventually she does realize what's going on, and she is like slowly accepting what's happening. And we're going to see that like by the next morning, obviously she's much more upset than she seems to be in the moment while she's processing all of this. But she's obviously not thrilled, and she's telling Tanya, look, we can talk if you get Robin so we can all talk about it together, because she doesn't want to take the full heat of this. She, probably is thinking to herself, well, if we all are, if we get Robin involved, maybe they'll go back after each other and I'll be taken out of the equation, because right now all of the anger is being directed her way. So it's just, Mel, it's insane.
It's everything we wanted in these shows. And especially as Beth haters, to see her at the brunt of things, sorry, is entertaining, because Beth is just miserable all the time. This is a bit of like tagging on to just a larger incident too, of just like, nobody really likes Beth on the team. She's not fun to be around. She's bad vibes. Like Veronica and Rachel are the ones who do inform Tanya this. And they're like, just so you know, like, you shouldn't be trusting her. Because I think one thing that Beth does is that Beth does like try to bring people in, but then uses them and does things to seem cool or to be a part of it. I don't know if it's the fact that Beth is like older than everybody and she's trying to fit in and thinks like, oh, if I like share tea, if I gossip, if I'm, mean girl, like they'll accept me. Because at this point, everyone is like 25, maybe 26 at the oldest, except for Beth. Beth is 35 at filming. So
ancient
in challenge time. So I enjoyed it. I think it's really funny, and a moment that I think sometimes maybe we overlook in challenge history for some of the bigger things.
100%.
Like so good.
This is not usually on my radar. I like forgot that it happened until I was watching it play out.
It's on my radar. I've been waiting for this one. I gotta tell you, this one stood out to me as a kid, and I'm sorry, like, for Beth. Look, if you tell me something and you tell me not to say it, I am a vault. But otherwise, gossiping is so fun. Like, Beth is just gossiping, and yeah, she's definitely doing it maliciously in these moments, and she is too messy. She is definitely getting caught way too often. So that's the thing. I don't know if it is like out of desperation to fit in. I think Beth just is this person, and I think has proven to be willing to gossip about way more serious things and be a way worse person in the future. So that is what it is. I still think this moment is wild. One of the more fun, I would say the pool close thing is a lot more fun than the Robin Tanya fight, which is just like, oh, this is Robin, you're really losing me here. So it's been overall a great time.
And then Tanya, of course, Beth is going to also purely Beth all of this, and that's really what ties all of this together, of me feeling even like less sympathy, which is her exaggerating something to make it seem like she's going to get like murdered in the middle
Oh
of the
yeah, I
night.
mean, I was just about to say Tanya has to go leave to stay at the hotel, stay at a hotel overnight because of Beth talking about feeling like she's afraid and unsafe around her. Obviously Tanya did not come near touching Beth, but she does, touch all of her stuff, and so Beth is concerned about all of that. I mean, look, it makes sense to send Tanya to a hotel for a night just to cool off after all of that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But as Beth is going to be her typical Beth self, and I understand that like something just happened to her, she wasn't necessarily like, she didn't put someone's suitcase in a pool, but she is going to now, essentially want to sit out of the whole she's ready to go, and we're going to see over the next episode or two, however long it takes, to get Beth actually to the point that she is going to quit. But it starts with, they have a challenge coming up, and Beth has no intentions of going. She doesn't want to do anything, basically, as she says, until in some way, shape, or form, she is compensated for all of her items that were just ruined.
Also,
Of course,
it's
yes.
a pool.
Ruined.
It's like not,
Ruined.
it's not
Chlorine
acid,
ruins.
it's chlorine.
Yeah, her pants that were thrown over the side of the balcony are ruined. But look,
Air dry them.
she talks about, there's a Louis Vuitton bag there that maybe actually is ruined, more than, I don't know. I don't know how this
I'm going to
works.
tell you something. Those bags are resilient. In 2005, yes, Louis Vuitton was the big thing. I know that the other thing that was like, I had one because I watched the OC, was the Dooney and Burke It bag. It was meant to look just like a Louis Vuitton bag. And I can tell you, those things withstood a lot of stuff. Not me personally in this circumstance, but I can tell you that somebody I know vomited into one of those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, held up really well, cleaned out well. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's not great, but it's leather. Like, it's not going to disintegrate in water. You just have to like clean it a bit. Calm down, Beth. If
No,
you're
she
so
wants to
rich and
quit.
luxurious,
I
she must be compensated for all of her terrible sky tops that cost like $60 at Express. Calm down, Beth.
look. I would throw a fit too. I would be like, give me my money, clean all my stuff. I'm not like, I am here. I'm under your care. You do this. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But look, there's a lot of other people here on her team that didn't do this, even though maybe they contributed. And they are all going to be, essentially punished or at a disadvantage if Beth doesn't participate. So everybody is trying really hard to get Beth to participate. As we get to the next challenge, which is called X Marks the Spot, Beth does show up. I thought she didn't at first, but then we see her competing, and I was like, oh, okay, so she did make it there. Dave Mirra being very funny in this spot where he's like, unfortunately for you all, today's about teamwork. So he's aware of what's going on. This challenge is going to feature pairs yet again. One person is harnessed to the crane. The other person is harnessed to the person harnessed to the crane. They're going to be flung out over water. One person has to drop the other person into floating targets in the water that are all set at a different point value. Basically, everybody does horrible in this challenge except for Abram and Rachel, who do get 20 points successfully. And when it comes down to Mike and Darrell that need to get points or their team is going to lose, they don't. So the badasses win again. But again, Scally, the bigger story was that Beth did show up.
Yeah, was funny that they had in episode 0, like, we test our challenges meticulously, and then it's like, ooh, we actually set it up too far, so no one can do this at all. It's completely impossible. So that was fun. But regardless, yeah, Beth shows up. She is saying, even after this, that she's definitely getting thrown in because she's involved in drama, and Robin's mad. But, Beth, of course, as they say, it's always got to be about Beth.
Yeah, Mel, this is the beginning of course, the beginning of the end for her this season. But the whole thing that she's now shifting to is, well, what can I do? I am going to be the saboteur. I'm going to make sure that my team loses.
And it's like kind of crazy because it really doesn't matter win or lose. Like, there's prize money at the end. You're getting bonus stuff. Like, what does really matter? They're never going to vote you in. So, like, I don't know. It's like a bit of like just sour grapes for Beth. It's classic Beth,
Yeah. Yep. The nominations here, as we are on a Women's Day for this elimination, the good guys are going to ultimately nominate Tina from the Badasses, which is kind of funny because Tina was like so sure that she wasn't going to be the name that got said.
No, she
but
thought she was, right? She was
oh
like
no, Tina,
adamant that
Tina did think she was,
Tina was
and
like,
then
"Oh, because she was
nobody
like,
else
told
thought
you
she was.
guys." Yeah.
Right.
Everyone's like, "No, Tina, you're crazy."
Right. And then on the badass team, they're going to end up nominating Robin. But not much of this means anything because for the badasses, there is a plan in place to throw the mission and make sure that Beth is going to get thrown in instead of Tina. Um, should we just get right into how that plan unfolds?
Well, look, it is a thing. Beth hears about it. She thinks they're going to throw it. They all deny it. Abram's like, how dare you? Everyone knew how against it I was last time. And then the mission starts and everyone wants to throw it, which is only foiled by this rule of even though they can hand all of the money to a certain player, that player also needs to correctly count their money for their chance at the life shield, and I believe for the money to count overall, right? So
Yes.
once you have overloaded someone with tons of money, it becomes very, very difficult for them to count in the allotted time.
Yeah, which like I'm sitting there, I'm like, what in what world, or is there a world that production added this at the last second to
Feels like
avoid,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Like
it was
because
very like, gotcha.
in so many worlds, and like Rachel I think is the one explaining this in confessional, like this is so easy, like of course we can just all hand the money to the right person. So we, if we didn't set this up, a helicopter is dropping tons of money from the sky, and everybody is running around this field to catch it, and then they decide very easy, we can hand off the money to the one person we want to get the life shield, and so that will allow Tina to win, save herself, throw Beth in. But then yeah, all of a sudden here's this twist at the end that Dave Mirra is going to describe. You have to correctly count all your money or it doesn't count. And so all of a sudden, Tina, who has tons of money stuffed inside of her shirt, is now needs to be trusted to count it all accurately. I guess to her credit, she said she was off, I think, by $10. So
Yeah, it
not
wasn't
that
much.
far
Yeah.
off, but still
I'm like,
off.
did they help her count? Because like, how did
I
this
think they
happen?
did. I think it was implied that they helped. And I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to give Beth credit on something.
Oh,
All of these people, when they were grabbing the money, were like crumpling it up and like shoving it down there. Like Beth wisely left the money flat. Not that they knew that, but it was just like it seemed unnecessary to like do that. And you would probably fit more, I would think, if it were flat than like taking up more space.
interesting. Wouldn't have thought about it at all.
Yeah, when money falls from the sky, I'm generally just grabbing it because it happens all the time. So yeah, that's usually what I do. Also, other drama happening at the same time, by the way, where Scally Robin's getting herself into some hot water because the other her team, the good guys, start to also realize that this is something that makes sense to do. So Shavonda and Jamie are also handing Robin money, but then Darrell and Brad are getting pissed because they're saying, well, if we're going to save Robin here, who else is going in? Like, we don't have a Beth that is going to get thrown in if you win the life shield. So we kind of want you to go in.
So that's the thing. Robin gets saved. Is it Jody? Is it Julie? Who's getting thrown in?
Right. So they're like, you're being so selfish by wanting to win this life shield and by having people help you. And it's just a lot of drama that pops up out of nowhere. It doesn't amount to a whole lot in, Robin, who is about to go home here. But I don't know, it was something. Got Brad worked up.
Yeah, let me be selfish. I don't want to go home. Like, do you want to go home? Like, huh.
Yeah. So, a little bit of drama there. But again, Beth is going to do what she can to sabotage this mission. It doesn't, Tina doesn't get the life shield. Who ultimately get them? Mike for the good guys and Derek for the badasses comes out of nowhere winning this one. So who would have thought? And the good guys finally get a win here after 3 challenges they had lost in a row. They finally get their first win on the board. But let's get to the Inferno, where when all is said and done, it's still going to be the matchup that was set by the nominations. Tina versus Robin. Beth does not get thrown in because that can't happen. And they're playing Shack Attack. Scally?
Yeah, you are going to be shackled by your waist to a chain that I think is holding half your body weight. So you have to fight against that to get to the other end of the arena, getting to a key and unlocking yourself. And Robin is just absolutely flailing, just does not seem to have a great strategy, whereas Tina gets very low to the ground immediately. Don't know if she stumbled upon it. by accident, or if this was like, oh, yeah, she's competed before, maybe she's picked up some things. So, but we're losing Robin here.
Very fast elimination. It was over in a matter of moments, and that's not just because I'm watching a little bit on a faster speed. It was fast. Kind of funny though with this matchup, Mel, because last season it was like the whole thing. They were weighing their options of who to send home, and specifically for like Robin, when she gets sent home, it's like, well, we already have Tina, who's a strong person, so we don't also need Robin. Robin, isn't filling like a puzzle purpose. So to have them matched up here, I thought was interesting to see this elimination.
It was a good parallel, and I know she did like consistently well last year, and I know she appears a lot more in the challenge. I don't remember Robin being like top tier of competitors. I feel like she's always just been steady. So it's interesting to see her sort of on this pedestal of like, oh, Robin's a threat.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what's Robin?
She definitely was giving signs of like, the up and coming next, big threat to appear.
Can I say something too? Because I know you're doing it like you're rewatching stuff. Robin has real like not flavor of love, rock of love energy.
I could see it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Oh, Robin.
Yeah. And I know we're going to have some more highs and lows, maybe some more lows as we get into Robin in her future seasons, of which there are many. So if anyone is sad to lose Robin this early on, she is not going anywhere anytime soon. But yeah, for now she's done. And she's not the only one that's done here. Let's talk about Beth and her exit. Scally, she is going to do what Beth does best, and that is leave a challenge.
Kind of a quiet exit. She's just like, actually, I'm done. I'm leaving, and I don't want to talk to anyone on my team except for Karamo. He's the only person I trust.
And she says very specifically, though, I don't feel like my property is safe here.
And that means it's time to go home.
Oh, Beth.
Yeah. She's
Thank
still
you,
pissed.
Tanya.
She's going to call out Veronica. For whatever reason, she just gets into it with Veronica when they get back to the house after that elimination where Robin goes. So a little bit of some extra fireworks before actually hitting the road. But yeah, you could see it immediately when Beth like had this happen to her with the suitcase and all that. She was, again, ready to go. The idea that her team could continue to throw things and get her out of here, she's like, no, I'm going to leave on my own.
Yeah, which is interesting because you would think either production would be annoyed at Beth or Beth would be annoyed at production, but no, we'll see Beth next season.
Yeah, and I don't know that I remember exactly, but as we're kind of setting up here, don't think this is the last time we will see Beth leave on her own accord. So we will see.
She's around
just like
forever, a plague.
Because I don't think Beth is really going to come up a whole lot when we get to Mount Rushmore. I just think it's interesting the way that she fits into that conversation because, especially as we know, all these years later, Beth is such a big name within the franchise, but she just goes home so early, even with like such impactful appearances on the season. It's just like, how could we ever actually entertain her being back up on that spot?
It's tough. It's going to get more and more competitive. And I think that Beth definitely is a big name throughout challenge history, but just doesn't like come back at the right times
or for long enough.
That's true too.
I think also like eventually, so early on, we've had this for a while, which is like there's a lot of characters and we didn't have like as many competitors. And then when you were a competitor, you weren't really a compelling personality sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But the show begins to progress and have people who are like double threats, that they're good at physical challenges and also like, oh, they're really good personalities too, or they provide something. And that's where, Beth has like a huge impact on this show. And like, I remember Beth. There are plenty of people who are going to be on the show that I will not remember. There are people who've won the show I will never remember, but I can't forget Beth. But she's not good at the challenge itself. So it's hard to want to put her up there when this show ultimately is the challenge. I think if there were like a real world Mount Rushmore, yeah, unfortunately, I'd have to put her up there. We don't agree with all the founding fathers. So
is Beth, have we talked about this before? I feel like we've made a similar kind of comparison. Maybe I'm making this up. Is Beth like Ashley Mitchell before, without the competitive nature of her time? Anything there?
I could see it. I can kind of see that. Well, except Ashley's a better competitor.
Beth walked many, many times before, so Ashley could.
Yeah, because like Beth was never going to be a competitor. From the moment we had Beth never wanted to compete. Beth was Beth was made for the role. Beth should have been on like Big Brother as like a stunt casting in 2004. You know, like she's meant to lay around a house
And
and gossip and whatever and create chaos, not, be a human catapult.
and for all of this, leaving shows and whatnot, we're still, I feel like, Scally, talking about Beth as like one of the more obvious names that could end up on like a House of Villains today.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, that's the thing, is it's very difficult where she is hovering around that like fifth or sixth spot at many, many, many times throughout history.
Yeah. Let's get into this final round of the game here for part one. We are ending on episode 6, of course. One more elimination to get to. Are we all prepared to give our rankings of who looked the best in these Speedos?
All right, start us off.
Most of the guys.
And they looked green bikini tops too. Really balanced out.
Yeah. Mike calls his junk Seymour.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't much to note, so
that is very true. But hey, as far that's I don't know. TV, it subtracts. I don't know. This challenge is called Shirt Off My Back. Scal, you want to set this one up?
Shirt off my back. They are going to be standing on a balance beam across water where they're going to have to pass their clothing that they're currently wearing, which was all provided by Speedo, to the person next to them. They will then have to put on the clothing given to them by their neighbor, and without falling off the beam. Otherwise, you have to move to the end of the line.
Right. And we have some plans going into this one, but they're not going to work very well. Specifically, Dan and his plans over on the Badass team. Going into it, they're so confident. You just jump off if you're at the end and get your clothes to the person that's on the other side of the beam. But that doesn't go well.
It does not go well because they're wearing 3 layers of clothes. When those clothes get wet, they become impossible to take off and put on. And unfortunately, what seems initially like, wow, what a good idea that you're kind of breaking the game, actually just ruins their chances. And unfortunately, the Badasses, not strategically at the best mind here.
Remember the first time I watched this, I was like, wow, what a great idea. And then quickly I was like, ooh, that was terrible. And I remember rewatching it this time and thinking, ooh, what a great idea. And I was proven wrong twice.
Did anyone think, well, maybe because you guys have better memories of this challenge, or at least I know Scally does, of this season in particular, I thought they were getting naked. When they talked about like they have to take their clothes off and, pass them down the line.
Never thought that.
That's what the vibe seemed to be.
They made it very clear. They were like,
they said
and the women will always have 1 layer of clothing on.
Right. So eventually, I realized that, but just like you see them, I heard them talking about like exchanging clothes, and I was like, oh, that's what. And they had a challenge, Battle of the Sexes, that was part of the challenge. So I'm like, okay, we've done this before. I thought that's where they were going with this. Not quite.
They learned.
They did. So yeah, the good guys are going to get another win, the second win in a row here. And let's talk about Scally, who's going to be nominated this time around.
Yeah, Miz is so confident it's going to be him. He's kind of like, whatever we want. I just, whether you want to put me in against a strong guy, a weak guy, I don't care. I'm going to win either way. Whereas on the Badasses team, Karamo is so sure it's going to be him. No one believes him. Karamo keeps saying he thinks Landon is the stronger guy on the good guys team, and he would much rather go against Landon. He thinks, as he says in this moment, he has a better shot against the Miz, but he thinks that Landon is the guy he should take out for them.
And he also thinks that because he knows Landon because they were castmates. So he also is adamant that like, I know what Landon's strengths and weaknesses are. Like I would have a better shot against Landon.
I guess, I guess that's fair. There is some questioning of his thought process on all of this, being like, are you sure? Like Landon is a pretty big dude in his own right. Like Miz has a reputation on this show, but like Landon is also, a scary opponent. But that's what Karamo wanted. And unfortunately for Karamo, it's not going to go well, both in the fact that he's going to lose this elimination regardless, or he loses this elimination here, but also just doesn't get heard, doesn't get his way with his choice of opponent. He feels like no one's listening to him, and with CT being so adamant about what him and some of the other people on the team thought was the best move, he's going to say as much. Karamo makes a comment talking about how everybody, does he say everyone is like, they sound so weak right now, right? That's in particular what he says.
Because people are like, we want to, don't want we want to get rid of Miz, that like he's like gonna weaken their team. Karamo thinks that they sound weak, and CT says, "How is the weakest guy on our team gonna say that we sound weak? All you do is sleep all day."
Right. And some uncomfortable, conversation plays out between the two of them. Karamo definitely feeling like the outcast on this team, and you're gonna pretty much feel that throughout the rest of these two episodes, that he is just completely separated.
Karamo has the line where he says that CT can, quote, kiss his black ass, and CT says, don't pull the race card. So this is, CT not being great. Race card is not a thing. That is not how this works. That was not even close to what Karamo was saying anyway. So this is just stupid. It's CT being ignorant early in his run.
Yes. Surprise. But yeah, that's what he wanted. Eventually he's going to also have a conversation, a Karamo with Derek, who like at first seems to like be trying to comfort him. And he's like, dude, I want you to be here. I get it. I would also be pissed if, people weren't listening to me if I was in your shoes, which, Derek kind of was last season, of just being the person that feels like he's on the outs. But yeah, the confrontation here with CT is going to really be affecting Karamo in a pretty big way throughout this round. So yeah.
I will say I thought it was kind of sweet when Karamo revealed later that if he was going to lose a elimination, which he felt he was pretty likely to do, he just felt more comfortable losing it to Landon. And I was like, wait, that's kind of sweet, because I don't think they were particularly close on their real world season. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cute.
Well, when they have their bonds between seasons, it's very nice that they still have each other's backs. Because, like, for example, Mike and Coral's friendship, where they were like they were like brother and sister on their real world, like constantly getting into it. And that was also like Mike being very young and ignorant and not experiencing any sort of like diverse culture or anything. But then like to see their friendship over time, and for others too, it's just like very comforting of like what that bonding experience did as roommates.
Just to like cut ahead to what's going to happen, we'll talk about how we get there. Landon is going to end up in the elimination, and it's by his own choice. I was kind of wondering if that might have had anything to do with knowing that Karamo wanted to face him, not just like saving Mike.
Yeah.
I think so. I do think so.
Yeah.
I think it was like a respect thing. I think he also like didn't want to see like Mike go like full aggro on him, which they tease. But also I think it's like, depending on what it could have been, like maybe like a humiliation factor of it all, of like what Mike would do just for TV. And he didn't want his friends or like whatever state of friendship they were in to be just like decimated or made a fool of, which is very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did say, he was like, Mike might actually kill him, and I want to not have that happen.
Right.
And Mike, by the way, at this point is also, I know it was touched upon like earlier a bit about Mike sort of playing up that wrestling persona, but when Mike is like preparing to go into the elimination, he really is doing that pure like wrestler stance. He's got his hair like spiked into a mohawk. He's got this stance. He has this like look in his eyes that is like the persona. And I think that's very like entertaining to see like the beginning of the Miz, the wrestler, like that becomes, but it is like almost like checked out, that that doesn't look like he's like fully there. Which is a little scary.
Oh, sometimes very scary.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Miz, though, did anybody have anything else? We did already touch on at the beginning of the podcast here about this whole alliance talk, but this is the part of the episodes where this really comes into play, where particularly Abe is going to get pretty worked up over the way that people are talking about him having an alliance. The fact that Mike does get picked by the badasses to go in, but Karamo and I think Abe were the only ones that weren't voting for Mike to go in, and so there is a lot of attention on him. But yeah, he's going to make sure we all know that that's not the case by taking his anger out on a kitchen glass.
Yeah, you said speaking of Mike, I thought you were going to say speaking of scary, because Abe loses his temper here, and Tina's like, that's not even what I was saying, like calm down. But no, Abe is definitely losing it. I think that we haven't seen it so much on the challenge yet. I know on Road Rules he is very not good and has done a little bit on the challenge, but this is where like once we're starting to throw glass around, like okay, yeah, we're starting to get over Abram a little more.
Yeah, and you guys know that I have a dream, of course, of being able to smash items. But that's in my own personal time alone and away from other company, you know?
Yeah. Like I have to hope that he, in the back of his mind, knew that he was like not going to hit a production member like standing outside, but I don't even want to give him that much credit because he just chucks a kitchen glass out of the door to get his frustration out about what's happening here. It's scary. And they're still going to have this man back for many seasons.
Did anyone see at the end of this episode the preview that was attached of the after show interview with Beth and former challenge contestant Blair?
Yes,
no.
I did see that, Scally.
Yes, and Beth continuing to be pretty rough. The little preview shows Beth saying that Veronica acts like a poser lesbian. So that was certainly a choice, especially knowing that Veronica, I do not believe, is out at the time. So that's super fun. And then also tries to out one of the guys for having hooked up with the guy. So there's Beth continuing to be Beth.
Oh boy. Doesn't improve much even today.
It's actually very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like the idea of her being on House of Villains, she is a villain, so that's why we expect her to be there.
Shocking she isn't there yet, to be honest. She must be demanding too much or something, or her busy schedule.
I think she'll end up there eventually.
But as we get to Karamo's elimination itself, let's talk about this one last challenge in this round. Dodge your balls, spelled YER, balls. And it's a straight up game of dodgeball played in the water. They're on opposing platforms floating in the water. Mel playing for a Dell laptop computer.
Very excited. Again, more prizes. Is Dell the only sponsor this season?
I mean, the car company seems to have backed out by now, so...
Yeah, rest in peace. But you know what? I forgot. We had to look up when Saturn went out of business to just see, was that could they just not afford the product? Did they go out of business because they gave away so many free Saturns on the challenge?
Yes.
They gave away like 12 per season. Like
they sure did.
Bank.
I love when they're explaining the rules. And it's like, all right, the rules. It's just dodgeball.
It's dodgeball.
You're playing dodgeball.
Hit someone or catch the ball.
It's all the same rules.
Yeah. The badasses were pretty sure that they were going to win, or at least Dan was, because he said, Rachel's so pumped. We have a lesbian on our team, so we're going to win.
Yep.
Cool.
But the problem is when they divide the teams, because they're allowed to divide their own team into two separate teams. They'll compete, I think, like basically bracket style, and to see who ends up winning at the end. And when they decide to compete in one strong team and one weaker team, and on the weaker team is Dan, Karamo, I believe Tanya, Beth, and they see they're going to be going against the four men on the good guys teams. Let's name check those four men. Some of historically the strongest men on the challenge ever in Darrell, Landon, The Miz, and Brad.
He was like four Hulks.
Dan says that he believes, quote, that the good guys team masturbate when they think, because when they masturbate they think about dodgeball. So they seem very prepared.
I was trying so hard today to figure out a way to tweet that line out of context. It didn't happen. I think we still can. But that was Coral's got all like the top like 10 lines on the show so far. But like a respectable number 11, when those guys masturbate, they think about dodgeball. So Dan Renzi, everybody, very fun. So the dynamics in this dodgeball game are not going to be your typical dodgeball game, because we also have Dave asking everybody, does anybody want to not participate today? Which felt directly, of course, asking Karamo. It seems like he's aware that Karamo is not the most into today's activities, and everyone's telling Karamo, no, you're playing. Karamo's not playing today.
No,
he almost did.
He maybe would have put one toe in the water.
He was gonna literally dip a toe in the water, but unfortunately there is a surprise guest that makes everything change.
Yes, some water snakes here are present, and so immediately he is going to say, well, that's the reason I am not going to play today. Of course, prompting some name calling from CT, calling him a punk, and probably worse things that we didn't see, or maybe we did. And so it doesn't really matter, because the badasses win the first heat when they ultimately can't win the second heat, because Karamo sitting out throws the challenge for his side. We're just going to go into one final heat of the two teams competing against each other, though I guess I shouldn't go past the first one that fast, because Jody, Jamie, Julie, and Shavonda for the good guys just get decimated in a very funny round.
Shavonda's in there for a minute. She lasted 3 seconds where everyone else lasted 1, so good for her.
Yeah, tough watch for them there. Dave Mira was reading out the teams and laughed out loud when he read that team. So that was funny.
There's nothing scarier. I would like, well, not nothing. I shouldn't be facetious here. One of the scariest things, at least when I was younger, when I'm an 11-year-old, to face down was being a girl playing dodgeball against boys, because another creature comes from their soul that really has no mercy.
I'm so with you. And I'm
like,
not
it's
a little
horrifying,
girl, but I am with you.
Yeah. I was just thinking about like that. Like, I'm visualizing when it was Landon, Mike, Darrell, and Brad. And I was thinking about being on the other side on that raft. What terror. I would have jumped in the water. I would have faked it. Or I would have like intentionally went for a head hunt.
Watching them wind up like this is the moment of their life, like pulling that ball so far back and throwing it, like maybe they do masturbate about this, because like, oh my god, it's just something that comes, not to bad word,
okay, calm down over there.
something that emerges from these men when they throw that dodgeball that is just terrifying. And no matter, like, I don't know, I didn't have a good arm. I was never going to stand a chance against these guys in the dodgeball court. But oh my god, I feel the exact same way watching it back.
Yeah, like we're just talking about it, and I'm like, I'm physically tensed up thinking about like I'm trying to think of like how I would just like get into a ball to like hide away and just hope they hit me first. Like really, just I would make myself a target, but like enough of a target like where I cover up so I couldn't get hit too badly.
You have to like hold the ball and then kind of hold it in front of your face so you just didn't get whacked in the face with it.
Yeah,
I thought
like a fetal position.
I thought it was very clear that the challenge with the Marines running them into the ground was the scariest mission of this batch, but you guys seem really triggered here.
I can wheelbarrow a person a little before I quit. The way these men, and also like the way we saw the way Abram threw a glass.
Skelly didn't get bullied enough
give him a ball too,
and it shows.
Aim it in my direction. Horrifying.
Look.
Maybe I wasn't getting bullied in dodgeball, but it kind of felt like it.
I did. Now, I'm going to say, I can put this on pod because it is factually out there. But I remember there was a kid who always went after me, and he would throw it at my head, all the stuff, whatever. Well, good riddance in life. He's out now, but I did check like many years ago. And he did go to prison for a while. So I at least feel like, you know, okay, you were just a terrible person in general.
Just like, watching like truly watching the final round of this, when like it's a good back and forth between these two teams. Eventually, like Darrell is like the only good guy left, and then, you know, dodgeball rules, when you catch a ball and you eliminate the person that threw it, you get to bring somebody back. Very good back and forth between these teams. Ultimately, it is the badasses that win. But watching these badasses, CT, Abe, Derek, especially these three, just like chucking the balls at the other team, I'm just like so glad to be behind the computer screen and not out there. Karamo had the right idea.
So funny, because usually we're watching the challenge and Ligori's like, this looked fun, I wanted to compete in it. I'm like, I don't trust the challenge.
Let me swing out of the thing.
Yeah.
And then it's dodgeball. And
I throw my clothes in the pool. I don't care.
Dodgeball.
I had the thought. I was like, oh, I bet Ligori's going to come in here and say, this looks so fun. I would love to play dodgeball.
No dodgeball.
And yet, I didn't understand the level of childhood trauma we were going to unpack today.
We could do even more, another hour on the childhood trauma. You know, but like I also was really bad. I don't know if Mel, this tracks for you too. Like if there was ever kickball, baseball, like don't put me in the outfield. I'm not catching that shit. No way.
Yeah, if it's too high up. I was better. So I will say I did have like so I would try in dodgeball. It was just that they were the savages against me, really just gunning for me.
Wanted to take your head off with a piece of foam ball.
Softball, at least, and other things, I got better. And you were kind of with people that were not like truly psychotic with you. So I got better. In the beginning, I was not great at it. But as I picked up like an athletic skill for a few years in life, I felt like, oh yeah, if I play like baseball or softball at school, like I can contribute. Then it all went downhill by like 9th grade. I gave up on any athletic activities, and that's where we're at in this point.
And clearly Scally was good at all.
I'm starting to
Scally's like we're realizing.
I'm starting to think I was a dodgeball bully.
You might have been.
Because there's no in
like it.
between. There's either you were terrified or you were the dodgeball bully. So
Like
if you're not
I wanted to
identifying
play
with our
dodgeball
story-
so bad, but then every time I knew like I'm gonna get hit in the head today.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm ready to throw.
And it wasn't even just like okay, to keep this going, it wasn't even like the fear of being smacked in the face with the dodgeball. When I threw the ball and it didn't hit anybody, how fucking embarrassing was that?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you're all
No.
watching me miss people? Like,
You're
It was just like
fine.
them figuring out too, like how hard could they hit you, like in the middle of your back, kind of thing, or like on your side.
Why are you running away?
But you're not. You're like turning to avoid because you're like looking head on, and,
wait,
then you're
wait.
like turning because you're kind of shuddering, and then it hits you right in the ribs or something.
Really?
Right?
And then you would run to get the balls at the beginning of the game, and somebody would be a second faster than you, and they would smack you in the
No.
head with the ball so
Yep.
fast.
Oh my god, no. This is no. Dodgeball was fun. I had a great time.
Can
You
everyone
were the
leave
bully.
comments to let us know if you were a dodgeball bully or what are we calling us?
And it's
A
funny
feeble
because like
warrior.
at the time it was fun. You're right, Scal. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Oh,
but I'm
I
traumatized
loved
today.
playing, but it was
Yeah.
traumatic.
I have
Like,
no dodgeball trauma that I have.
This
to
wasn't
unpack
just
here.
like in school or whatever. Like we had like a laser tag place that like in my I don't know teenage years we would all go to the laser tag and dodgeball, and I would sign up to play dodgeball. Again, I wasn't terrified at the time, but thinking back on it, I'm like, never put me back in that arena.
Huh.
Anyway, we could play some laser tag. No, even that was scary.
No, I want to. I've been trying to get
somebody-
my friends to recently.
I actually would love
Somebody
to
comes
do
around the
laser
corner
tag.
like pointing a laser tag gun at you, and you're like, fuck. Like,
But that one's not as bad. I mean, that one at least doesn't require like no one's throwing the laser at you directly and then hitting your
Yeah.
body like it's there. I would not
playing with
paintball.
Abram.
Yeah, like I would laser tag. I would never paintball. I never have, and I have no desire.
I don't want to paintball either.
I have no desire. No, thank you. That one
Maybe like
legitimate
a-
trauma, I'm sure, would come out of it for me. As if this isn't legitimate trauma.
I would do like water guns with paint. You know, like
alright.
that would be fun.
Yeah, I would do that.
I got it all out. Mel, are you good?
Yeah. I
Okay.
feel released. Thank you.
Scally, any apologies you want to make to anybody listening that may have been your opponent in dodgeball?
No.
Well, clearly you're seeing how it affected us. So I would have thought maybe it would have brought upon some. Nope, you're just you're
Here's the
three.
rules of the game.
You're a
You're
three.
supposed to compete.
So Karamo on the outs here still, and for the rest of his time here, as we said, even Dave Mira throwing shots, saying that making comparisons of Karamo to Beth, and Karamo's not very happy about it. Landon and CT have the life shields. Things are going to get weird here, Scally. Landon is thinking about saving Mike, as we just talked about. Landon will go into elimination. I didn't think it was actually going to happen just from the initial conversation about it, but along with the maybe Landon wanting to give Karamo what he wants, Mike is just this absolute workhorse for the team. They all know that Mike the Miz is a good player to have around, and why risk him going home?
Oh my god, Mike was pissing me off so much here when it first gets floated out. Mike is like, no, you can't take my Inferno from me. How is that going to make me look? Like, what? Now the viewers are going to see the Miz get saved by Landon and think, oh my god, he is too scared to face Karamo. And I'm like, why are you so worried about the perception of you not going against Karamo? That's interesting. I would like to unpack that. As Mike wears a shirt that has two, like, as if bathroom figures of women that says, who said I'm homophobic on
Yes,
the
that's
shirt?
what the shirt was. Yeah.
So is implying, first of all, the sexualization of queer women, and then also implying that he is otherwise homophobic. So I was like, yeah, I really did not like Miz in this scene.
Nope, but he's a good guy. Hey, good guys. We got to keep Miz for the good guys. No, 100% co-sign all of that. Weirdness and bad things coming out of Miz's mouth.
I think it is, unfortunately, especially with the shirt, but probably like all a product of the time where like, was Miz like an active homophobe? Like, not that I have any recollection of, but it was not my favorite scene to watch now.
No, and just like we're straight men, using the F word much more than
Well, that is true.
today. Again, not Miz in
Yeah.
particular, but like culture around then. So,
It's coming back around. So,
oh, what a fun time.
uh,
So let's get to the Inferno. CT is like taunting Landon. Oh, look, maybe you want to go in. Mike would be pissed though. Mike would be pissed if you take him out. He wants to go in today. Again, ultimately, Landon is going to go into this elimination and swap out with the Miz. So whatever the decisions were that led him to this spot, he is going to be Karamo's opponent in Knock Your Block Off. They both have a helmet on with a block on their head. Using this padded stick, they have to try to knock the block off of their opponent's head, staying within the parameters of this little arena. Also, don't hit below the belt. I thought it was weird how, like, if you did jump out of the like space that you were supposed to stand in, you just reset. I'm like, that should be a penalty of some sort, but hey, whatever. Karamo is going to be eliminated here. Landon wins. Shavanda's talking about how focused Landon seemed, and Karamo looked like, she said, he was looking like he was planning his flight home already. And so this is the end of the road here. Never to return to the challenge, Mel, but oh boy, if he only knew the career he had ahead of him.
I don't think any of us suspected that, of all people, Karamo was going to be this huge megastar. Like, and like many of these people, that they went on the Real World and it was like, I'm going to be a star. And it was like, sure you are. But who knew the power of Karamo?
Who knew? Seems like not a lot of people that were on his team for sure. They discard him real quickly. Scally, some of them don't even say goodbye, including Derek. I thought Derek was Karamo's friend.
yeah, I honestly felt like this was super weak of particularly Derek in this moment, where it felt like maybe Abram and CT had like I have no expectations from Abram, and then CT was the one who like got in the argument with Karamo in particular, so like maybe they weren't getting along. My own judgments there, but I was like, Derek, what did he do to you? Like, I feel you're starting to feel like a little follower on this one.
Yeah. Didn't love it. But Karamo is out of the game and off the season, off of the show. But if at some point I do, or we do, end up looking back at any Real World seasons, I'd be very interested to see, more of him in this realm rather
He's
than
not
just
my favorite person.
He's not, you said?
No.
I don't know enough. I just have heard so much, I guess, that I'd be interested to see more, but either way,
more outside of the show. He's fine, but like,
yeah, okay, fair enough. And so that is these 6 episodes here. Anything that we missed for you, Scally?
No, I thought that this was a very thorough talk through of the first 6 episodes. I have long been waiting to get to this point, so it feels very surreal, and I am only even more excited to continue the season.
Yes. Mel, anything that we missed today?
One was just that at one point, Karamo in that challenge where the water snake comes out says, "Do I look like Crocodile Dundee?"
What a reference.
Yeah, what a time. It's a bit of a dated one now, but I think it still holds up. But overall, it's a good first chunk of the season. I, of course, think it needs more prizes, but I'm intrigued where it's going. But I think, of course, I have to say what's obvious, which is Darrell is on the season. So I think I know the outcome.
We will see. That actually leads me into nothing that particularly has to do with these episodes, something that I've just had it lingering in my notes for like the past 3 podcasts. And let me just get this out real quick here. We've of course been keeping track of our Mount Rushmore and whatnot. I don't know that, Scally, we've checked in on the actual leaderboard of like who has the most wins up until this point. And I feel like it's going to be, of course, adjusted. Some of these numbers will be adjusted coming out of this season that we're watching now. Just wanted to check in quick. Off the top of your head, do you both know who's at the top of the board? There's one person.
Is it technically Sean Duffy still?
No. One person.
Is it Veronica?
Yes, Veronica is
injury. Yeah, that's true.
With her 3 wins she's gotten so far.
Makes a little more sense when Beth is like, let some new people win Veronica.
Right. That was we talked about the Beth versus Veronica, but she specifically calls out time for new people to win around here. So the threat level exists for a reason. Veronica does have 3 challenge wins.
Veronica took that on board. She said, I will never win a challenge again.
Yep.
Yeah. But can you guys knock out the rest of it? So there's 9 people right now that have 2 challenge wins.
No shot.
I think
Let's
you
see.
can. Well,
Ooh.
Mel
Miz?
just named one.
Dan Setzler, but I call
Yeah,
him Dan
Setzler.
Seltzer.
That being the first one of all these names is
No.
crazy.
It's
but
top of
appreciate
it's
it.
I'm doing, like who was on
We just
seasons
talked
together,
about
but
it.
also like I did just listen to the last podcast and the jokes
Yes.
about it. But also the fact that his name is close enough to Seltzer now, like
It's
I
so
probably
close.
won't forget
Right.
him.
And Mel, you said the other one a minute ago from our first
Oh, Sean.
season. Yeah, Sean Duffy.
Yeah,
a two-time winner,
I think the
technically.
first season I know it counts, but it's to me like an
I know.
asterisk,
Yeah.
We all
And
agree there.
there's one more person from that season on this list who just won last season as well.
Eric.
Eric Neese.
Oh yes.
There are 6 more names. I can just give them to you if you
Miz.
don't want to actually guess.
Did Holly win twice?
Holly did. Holly Shand, 2-time winner. Somebody
Theo?
that is. Did you say
Yeah,
Theo?
Yeah.
If you didn't, I just gave you an answer. But yes,
Oh,
Theo
I said
Vaughn,
Theo.
2-time
Okay.
winner.
Was Timmy a 2-time winner?
Timmy is not.
I wouldn't think so.
Somebody that is on the season that Mel just talked about like 2 minutes ago, maybe a part of the winning team here, already has.
So is it
one-
Miz that I just already had said?
No, Miz.
Oh.
Wait, is it Darrell?
Miz.
Oh, Darrell. Duh.
Yes, Darrell. Miz to this point has only won one. I was going to say he hasn't won any, but he did win his first season.
Okay.
Darrell, 3 more people here. One was is not on this season, but was mentioned in these episodes.
Nope.
Mark Long.
Oh, yes, Mark. Okay, that makes
And
sense.
then 2 names that you're probably not going to get, but I will give them to you. We have Jamie Murray, 2-time winner so far.
Oh my
Okay.
God, yeah, that boy.
And legend herself, Ronnie Martin. 2 for 2.
Oh yeah.
So
Good
yeah,
for her.
one 3-time winner so far and 9 2-time winners. We'll see how that leaderboard is adjusted as we continue on. But I thought it was interesting to bring it up because it's, again, we've been focusing so much on the free agents Mount Rushmore, let alone the actual leaderboard. But
Well, it's very clearly not a 1-to-1 because otherwise
Yeah.
Dan Setzler might, hold that top average.
hey, it's not too late. We can revise our decisions.
It
if we want to.
actually is.
Okay.
He never appears again.
Yeah. Look, also one thing that I know we've been asked to do at some point, I think this might end up being patron content. So, plug for Patreon there is to recast era 1 of the challenge if there are changes we would like to make. So
Oh,
as we finish season 10 here, that certainly could be something that we do soon. And as well, Scally, we've been talking about picking out some one-time players that never came back to be on potentially future seasons of All Stars. So all that could be coming soon as well.
Yeah. Do we say one-time players or just people who have not appeared on All Stars?
It could be that, yeah.
I was like,
we just
I don't think
make sure we can pick Emily, right? That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that makes more sense. I guess it's a separate conversation of just like who only showed up once that never showed up again. But yeah, all counts if it's a worthwhile pick. That was a one-time player. Anyway, Mel, thank you so much, of course, as always, for joining us. Where can people find you online if they would like to do so?
Well, first, always thank you for having me. A true delight of my week to revisit all this and then get to talk about it. And you can follow me at Mel Got Served on all the platforms.
There we go. Mel, always great to catch up with you here and talk about all the prizes and everything in between. The prize for us is getting to talk to you. So,
and unpack our dodgeball baggage.
I mean, if I had to do that by myself without Scally here, I would have looked insane with just me and Scally. So I really appreciate that
30-minute monologue.
And I feel better. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and I feel it from Mel as well. Scally, what should people be looking out for from you?
Ooh, well, people should go see me and Kirsten talking about Beyond the Villa over on the We Know Love Island feed. So go check that out. People also should check out, I was on the Altar Call podcast, which was a ton of fun. I've posted it on socials, or at least definitely Blue Sky. So check that out. It was super fun. We talked about the Traitors season 4 cast, so very kind of them to have me over there. Anything else I'm doing on social media at Brian Scally on Blue Sky, at Brian _Scally on Twitter, and B Scally on Twitch.
There you go. We are actually getting pretty close here in real time to the challenge season 41. So I think the plan is more or less as we get into that season, we'll still be doing our rewatch here. But of course, as always on the Free Agents podcast, we'll have a recap of every episode of the current season of the challenge. Season 41, Vets and New Threats. And we will have a second episode of the week that is continuing this rewatch alongside of that. So don't worry, not going anywhere, at least not right now. But as far as myself is concerned, check me out on the Diary Room podcast with Amon Adwin talking Big Brother every single week. BB27 has started, so a lot of fun to be following along with all of that. And we'll see when those players make their way into the Diary Room discussion at some point down the road. But of course, again, one more plug for Patreon, patreon.com/the Free Agents Podcast. If you want to hear those conversations that we have about Era One as a whole, I'm sure some of it will come up at the end of this season's podcast, but maybe do a little bit more over on Patreon, plus all of our bonus episodes every single week. Every episode that we do on this main feed here goes up early and ad-free on Patreon as well. So if that's something that interests you, definitely check it out. I'm on all social medias at Matt Ligori. The podcast is also on Twitter and Blue Sky and all that good stuff. Check out the episode descriptions for the exact links. 5-star ratings and reviews, always appreciated, always welcome. But that is going to do it for today. So thank you all for checking this one out. We will be back very soon with season 41 coverage and with part 2 of the Inferno 2. Until then, take care, and we hope to see you all in the future.